We've all been there. You're in a room with that one person who just seems a little blunt, maybe even rude. They interrupt, they ask these super pointed questions, and they just seem off. But what if it's not actually rudeness? What if it's a sign that they're secretly the smartest person in the room? Well, that's exactly the idea we're going to dig into today. Turns out, really intelligent minds don't always play by the same social rules as the rest of us. So what if that person you thought was difficult isn't trying to be difficult at all? What if their brain is just operating on a completely different level? Okay, so let's jump right into our first category, the fast-moving mind. These are the behaviors that pop up when someone's brain is just moving way, way faster than everyone else's. First on the list, impatience with inefficiency. All right, picture this. You're in a meeting and it is dragging. To one person, the solution is totally obvious, but the group just keeps talking in circles. And finally, they can't take it anymore. They interrupt and the whole room goes silent. Yeah, it comes off as arrogant, but is that what's really happening? This is pretty much what's going on in their head. While everyone else is just seeing impatience, this person is genuinely confused. It's like they've already solved the puzzle and they truly can't understand why the group is still just staring at the pieces. It's a total disconnect. And this brings us to the core idea here, a processing speed mismatch. It's not about ego, not at all. It's just the sheer frustration of having a brain that's already crossed the finish line while everyone else is, still lacing up their shoes. And that leads us right into behavior number 2, avoiding small talk. Oh yeah, the person who completely skips the how's the weather chat and just gets right to it. They often get labeled as cold or stuck up, but for a really sharp mind, there's a whole different calculation happening. See, they're not trying to be mean, they're protecting their mental real estate. Think about it, their mental energy is this incredibly precious resource, and to them, small talk is just static, it's clutter. They'd much rather save that brain power for the deep, complex stuff they can really sink their teeth into. Next up, our second category, the logic-driven mind. Now, these behaviors come from this powerful, almost compulsive need for clarity, for reason, and for the absolute truth. A classic example here is behavior number 3, questioning authority. This is such a quick way to get labeled as a troublemaker, right? But it's almost never about just being a rebel. For a highly intelligent person, a rule without a clear reason behind it is just, well, it's an obstacle. This is actually a huge sign of high cognitive flexibility. They have this deep, burning need to understand the why, the underlying logic. So if a rule seems inefficient or a tradition is just plain illogical, they're not going to follow it blindly. They're judging it on its merit, not just accepting it because, well, that's how it's always been done. Okay, next up is a real social landmine. Behavior number 4, correcting people. We're all taught it's rude, that you don't want to be a know-it-all, but for a super analytical mind, the priorities are just different. Most people put social harmony first. They put accuracy and truth first. For them, a wrong fact isn't just a simple mistake. It's like a glitch in the matrix, a broken tool that makes the whole machine work badly. They feel this genuine, almost physical need to fix it. It's not about showing off, it's about making sure everyone is operating with the best, most accurate information possible. The integrity of the data just wins out over a little social awkwardness. And for our final category, we have the deeply aware mind. These behaviors are driven by some serious introspection, and honestly, they can sometimes feel a little isolating. Let's really get into what's happening underneath it all. Behavior number 5, long, thoughtful pauses. Have you ever asked someone a question and you just get silence? A really long, heavy pause? It's so easy to think they're confused or maybe a bit slow, but in reality, something pretty incredible is happening inside their head. That silence, that's the sound of deep evaluation. Their brain is firing on all cylinders. They're running simulations, checking for all the little nuances, weighing the consequences of every possible word. They're not struggling to find an answer. They're filtering through dozens of ideas to give you the most precise, well-thought-out one they possibly can. Let's move to behavior number 6, asking questions that feel too intense. So what about the person who's always asking why or, but how does that work exactly? It can feel like you're being interrogated, right? Like they're putting you on the spot. But let's try to reframe this a little. That intense questioning is very often a sign of something called intellectual humility. Genuinely brilliant people are painfully aware of how much they don't know. They dig deep because they're on this mission to build a perfectly accurate model of the world in their mind, and every single piece has to fit just right. And for our seventh and final behavior, let's talk about the person who just suddenly withdraws. One minute they're totally engaged in a conversation, and the next it's like a switch flips, and they have completely checked out. It can feel really personal, like they're being antisocial, but the cause is often way deeper than that. This can be explained by a fascinating idea, the isolation of insight. A highly aware person might start to see the metagame of the social situation, the hidden motives, the power dynamics, the same old patterns repeating. And once you see the code behind the game, it can be absolutely exhausting to keep playing. It's not personal, it's pure social exhaustion. So, after looking at all 7 of these behaviors, what's the big takeaway? Well, it's really all about shifting our perspective on what intelligence actually looks like in the real world. Here's the bottom line. Intelligence isn't always neat and tidy. It doesn't always show up in a polite, perfectly polished package. Sometimes it's messy, it's impatient, and it can feel a little glitchy in social situations. Because true intelligence, the real deal, isn't measured by how flawlessly someone can make small talk. It's measured by the depth of their awareness, the sheer speed of their thought, and that relentless, unstoppable drive for truth that's happening just beneath the surface. So I'll leave you with this final thought. After hearing all this, is there a so-called rude habit, maybe in yourself or in someone you know, that you're going to see in a completely new light now?